change in the character, but you can see how they were framing and shaping the argument. And that's just one particular instance. You see how they frame the performance, what sort of headlines they use, how it evolves. And with any media event, you start off with the headlines, you go into the forum page, the ridiculous forum pages, where people sent in letters. Then you see people that wrote letters that weren't published. Nong Hao wrote an essay or a letter but was not published. Several other people wrote letters that were not published either. Max LeBlanc, Ng Sek San, and you see those and you compare them with what was published. Or in some instances, what they wrote and what they printed. Yeah. Okay? And you go into commentary, Tan Tan Hao, Koh Bak Som, T. Sasitharan, Russell Heng. These were the 4 people that wrote commentaries and opinion pieces in Straits Times about this particular incident. Yeah? And you evolve all the way into the sentencing and the reportage around the trial of Joseph Ng and Iris Tan. So you see how they shaped it, basically. And of course, you jump cut to 1995 when they do the exit interview with B.G. George Yeo after he left his post. And he talks about Brother Cain. And you see how he views it from his perspective. Of course, one of the gems is this particular article. It's an unpublished article by an American writer named Stan Sesser. Stan Sesser was basically writing for the Wall Street Journal and a few others as a freelance journalist, and he covers the region of Southeast Asia. He was most known for this particular article called Thailand in the Land of Charm and Cruelty. Okay? So he earned his street cred. He was invited by Ray to come to Singapore to write an article about this incident. And he managed, because of his cred and his credentials, to gain access to Lee Kuan Yew, Goh Chok Tong, Lee Hsien Loong, Tommy Koh, and George Yeo. So in this article itself, even though it's very, very slight, you have them speaking about this particular incident on record. Unfortunately, it was never published. The reasons for why it's not published was never clarified. In this article itself, it mentions Christopher Lingle. Anybody remembers this name?
And his lecturer was sacked for saying bad things about the PAP.
Yeah, and most importantly, there was also a time when they were throwing libel suits at magazines and International Herald Tribune, Economist, So perhaps that's why this particular article is a little bit of a hot potato and nobody wanted to publish it. Yeah. But it is quite a comprehensive article, 12 pages long. It's called City of Fear. Yeah. Any questions?
When is Ray going to release all this information online?
I don't think it's his intention to release it online, but if you realize these are original documents, and the first thing people ask is, how can you go and highlight original documents? They're artifacts, But the thing is that I've scanned all of them, I've digitized them, they will be joining, and I've catalogued them. There are about 150 individual documents, and I'll be sending them over to the Asia Art Archive, where they will be available for research access.
But not to the public?
I don't think so.
Oh.
Yeah. I think it needs to be contextualized. If we encounter it in a public realm without the context, I'm not sure if it's effective. Because a lot of these are personal correspondences between Ray and his colleagues, between people at that time. Yeah, so I'm not sure whether everything can be declassified and open for everybody, public access.
Who makes that decision?
Not me, Ray.
Oh. But it's an important part of Singapore's history, so I don't see why he's holding things back.
I don't think he's holding it back. He's making it accessible.
Oh, but only to
if you really want to access
people.
it, you can. Yeah, but it's not free for all.
And you've digitized these videos. How is the feed coming out on these TV screens? Is it from a VHS player or from a
DVD player?
DVD, oh I see, okay.
Actually, Ray digitized it. Yeah. So here's the copy, and these videos are part of a collection of his video archive in the AGA archive, which is why it makes sense to have all these documents join the video archive at the AGA archive. Yeah. I'm not getting a fee from it, they're not paying me. I just think it's important for research, for these body of documents to go along with these videos. Yeah. Any other questions?
In terms of being an artist, how do you sort of, I mean, when you're working in an archival form, how do you balance just natural artistic ego with the huge spread of what an archive means, and how do you balance objectivity and subjectivity, and how do you not fear that, you know, certain meta frames would not be obvious enough because you're presenting it as is?
Yeah, there are three big questions over there. I think that there's a system of distillation that happened. So if those people who came to archiving Kane, you will see my presence very much apparent. I'm physically in the space 24/7. No, as long as the exhibition is open, I'm there. You know, and after the exhibition, one of the things I was grappling with is, am I allowing the information to speak for itself? Am I pushing it and suppressing it by my presence? Am I oppressing the information and the facts? So with that in mind, the intention behind this presentation is to remove my presence as an artist from it entirely. Of course, I'm still here. Yeah, and of course you can see my presence in the traces that I draw. But as much as possible, I would like the documents and the information to speak. So I think it stems from what have you done before and what you would like to achieve. Thanks. Any other questions? Does that answer your question?
Yeah. I mean, of course, there are so many problematic things within, so there's not one way. But
yeah,
it
there's no objectivity. No matter how I frame it, as long as I'm telling you something, it's framed within my subject, you know, and my consciousness. So I'm very aware of that. The only way around that is to make that explicit. Yeah. The thing I was resisting with this particular exhibition is also the convenient timeline. People come in and they say, oh, I'm overwhelmed. Yeah, but it's good. It's good that you're overwhelmed. Then you have to make choices. You have to pick what you want to see and how you want to encounter the information. There have been instances when this particular body of information is framed as a very linear timeline. When I did my Facebook timeline on archiving Kane, when Wing Choi did his chronology of a controversy. So I don't think it's necessary for this to reiterate that particular convenience. Yeah. Any other questions?
So is this going to be the last time you're going to deal with this?
No, actually this is the first.
Oh, the first. There's more to come. So what other ideas have you got for the future?
So the AARP project is a research project with a substation that lasts 3 years, or 2 years. It's a 2-year cycle. So this is the first phase presentation of the 2-year research that I'll be embarking on the Artists General Assembly. So this particular first iteration, I want the information to speak. Second and third iteration will be shaping and perhaps playing with the idea of fiction, which I've been not doing much recently. As in, it's kind of been documentary reenactment, documentary. So I want to go back into the realm of film, and I want to go into the realm of fiction. So maybe, yeah, it will take the form of a film, the final presentation. It will be a film.
Brother Kane, the movie.
No, it's not Brother Kane, the movie, but it's Artists General Assembly, maybe the fiction documentary, I don't know. Yeah, but dealing with, I want to work with the video documentation of the event, and edit or reshape or expand. Does that answer your question?
Yeah.
Okay. Any other questions? Sorry if it's a information overload.
Why did Ray decide to do a thesis? I mean, he was a sort of employee. Why did he decide to go back to university and do a PhD?
He has always been an academic, and very interested in academia, very interested in pedagogy.
But to do a PhD at such a late point in life, it's a bit unusual, isn't it?
You have to understand that for a very long time, the MFA is a terminal degree. So there's nothing higher than the MFA in terms of fine arts. But within the last 20 years, because there is a proliferation of people with MFAs, they feel like they have to do a creative practice doctorate, which I'm feeling the pressure to do also, in order to be able to teach in a university. So that is perhaps why he chose somewhat strange for other sort of disciplines, but not strange for the arts, to pursue a PhD later in the career. Yeah. And I think it's also because he had something to say. You know, I'm thinking of my PhD proposal, and you know, I can do this, but is that really what I want to say? But he had this urgent need to record this incident and what happened around it. It's Oster, right? How are we going to go into the next part? So the performance aspect, I really wanted to encourage people to interact and to not take, but add on. So if you see little slips of paper, post-it notes, they are actually accumulated over the course of the past 2 weeks since the exhibition opened. And I would encourage you, if you are interested in contributing, to write a little note and paste it somewhere. It can be a comment on a certain article. I don't think it's what you say at the end that really matters, but it's the process, and this is the teacher in me speaking, of like discerning where to put the post-it note, what article to comment on that is more important. Yeah. So feel free to do that. Another thing is, I haven't finished threading. And I realize it's been especially difficult to drag my feet down to the gallery space and do it after it opened. You know, after it opened, it's like, oh, so relieved, it's open. Yeah, I probably dragged myself here just once since it opened to continue the threading, but it is my intention to eventually at least have the threads run a little bit more dense. Yeah. The whole romantic idea is that over the course of the exhibition, the information will disappear because the threads become too dense. Okay, so that's the romantic artistic intention. Okay, for me, if it happens, it's good. If it doesn't happen, it's also okay. Yeah, it's the intention. Yeah.
Sometimes I ask, is there a process behind the way in which you're doing the threading?
Yes. Oh yeah, we haven't touched on that. Okay. No, but it's important. So, I encountered this body of information several times, and I really wanted to force myself to have the discipline to go through each and every single line. So the task I set for myself is I'm going to highlight all the organizations in green, all the individuals in yellow, all the dates in pink, all the addresses in orange. Okay, and the threading process is basically pooling those highlighted points to the names and the organizations. After I complete that, eventually I do hope to do the dates, but I'm not sure whether that will happen. Yeah, yeah. So that's the process. That's the answer to your question.
Has there been any really interesting discoveries you've made since you've set up, like after opening night?
Just having the information laid out in such a manner is something that I've been conceiving. And to see it physicalized in a space is helpful for organizing information. Yeah. There are a few things that I realized. As in, people that I expect will have a lot of threads, eventually I realized, maybe because I haven't got around to really pinning them, but some people have more than others. So I realized, like, the artist village, the individuals have more threads than the organization. But for Fifth Passage, the organization has more threads than the individuals. So this event is co-organized by the artist village and the Fifth Passage. I mean, that's quite revealing. Any other questions? And of course, the final thing is, originally today I wanted to invite you to help thread, but maybe it's just too much. Maybe next time, or during the week, if you're interested, you can come back in again. Yeah, I actually prepared scissors and stuff. Any final questions? Okay. Thank you very much for joining me here. I hope it's helpful. Please take your time to look through the documents. I'm here. If you have any questions, just ask. I'll be more than happy to answer. Thank you.